welcome back to Rusted Horsepower. I got this small bench project I'm working on. Halfway through it I went ahead and stopped and pulled out the camera, started recording, thought it might be interesting to you. Let me show you what I'm working on. So we're working on a Baco Products SLR 2120, also called a nightstick. It's a multi-purpose work light, can be used as an underhood light. It's 1200 lumens, 36 LEDs, and the way it's designed is it has a tandem switches on each side of the handle, and it can be used two different ways. As 1200 lumens, it lights up both of the LED strips, and as a little over 600, I think it was like 650 lumens, it'll light up just one of the light strips. So originally I bought the light to use as an underhood light, and it worked great for about 3 years. But recently I grabbed it and went to use it and noticed it wasn't as bright as it used to be. One of the strips of LEDs only lit up about halfway and was really dim. So I had a little bit of time on my hands and I decided to take it apart and try to fix it. Without an exploded view or any kind of instructions, I was looking to take it apart without breaking the halfway working light. So I finally took it all apart, took the actual light strip circuit board out of the tube, and of course you see a battery pack in there, and I see a separate circuit board for the power supply. Immediately when I look at the back, I see that big brown spot. I'm like, okay, that's where we're going to find our damage. So in electrical, it doesn't matter what you're working on, whether you're working on a switch, a body computer, a printed circuit board. Once you have eyes on it, you look for small clues that are going to lead you to the problem, whether it's a crack, discoloration, or in this case, a burn mark. Well, before I disconnect anything, I'm just going to try to show you with everything connected. So I ended up soldering a new resistor in there to repair the one that had been blown out. I originally misread, since it has two circuits, I could copy the other circuit and know what resistor we need. So I originally misread it as an 87 ohm resistor. I didn't have an 87, but I had a 100 ohm resistor. So I soldered that in, and let me light up the light. That's with both strips on. That's with just one strip on. You can see it's considerably dim. So the reason that light strip was so dim is because the resistance was too high. Like I said, I originally misread the resistor that I needed and put in the wrong values. But that did tell me that I was on the right track, because although that light strip was still dim, it was slightly brighter than it was before, and the whole thing lit up. I ended up going to my electronics parts store to get the resistor that I needed. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to unsolder the incorrect value resistor. That's going to show you what the light was originally doing with the resistor blown out. Then I'll go ahead and solder the resistor that's closer to the original value. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to unplug the switch assembly. And we're going to unplug the power supply. So here you can get a better view of what's going on. See this little resistor, this little square right here on the left hand side? So the other side, it was completely gone. That's where the burn mark was. There was no signs. When I took it apart, I didn't see any pieces or anything. I must have dropped them on the way out. They must have been tiny. But it's just a regular resistor. This is a surface mount resistor, they call it, and this is just a regular ceramic resistor. They do the same thing, it's just resistance. So I put the circuit board right here in this little vise, make it a little bit easier to work with. So there's that little resistor. Still a good resistor, just the wrong size. So real quick, I reconnected the switch assembly and the power supply just to show you what the light was doing before. So as you saw, the lower right of the LED strip is lit up, but so dim you could barely see it. So anytime you're dealing with something that you're really not sure what the resistance is or what the component is, if this was a diode, it would only read one way. This is the actual good resistor that's still there. We know it's a resistor now, where at the time I didn't. So you can always grab your meter, read across it. It's kind of hard to read in there because I guess the solder joint's not that clean. But if this was a diode, it would only read one way and not the other. So diodes are basically one-way check valves. We know this isn't a diode, this is a resistor, because we were able to read resistance both ways with the meter. On top of that, we Googled a 2R7 that's printed on the board to find out this is a 2.7 ohm resistor. Ceramic diodes also have color bands on them, which you can read and figure out what the value of the resistor is. Or you can just hook up your meter like we did, and as long as you're unhooked from the circuit and you have no power running through it, you can read its resistance. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to bend the little leads on the resistor so they match up kind of close to where I'm going to solder it. I'm going to go ahead and trim them off. And we'll just go ahead and solder them in. And plug in the power supply. Plug in the switch assembly. Let's see how this works. And we got full brightness. So that worked out. Now all we got to do is put the light back together. 50-cent resistor fixed a $100 light. So I'm sharing all the features about this light on my own. This is not a sponsored video. I'm not getting paid to do this video. Nobody gave me this light to do this video. About 3 years ago, I needed an under hood light, so I looked around, and this is the one that I liked with the most features. It has an internal battery, which allows you to run it as standalone if you have no power available or you just want to run standalone. It has 2 different ways of charging that battery. It comes with an included AC power adapter, which allows you to hook up to a 110 volt wall outlet or an extension cord. It also has a 12 volt cigarette lighter adapter, which allows you to plug in directly to a cigarette lighter or a cigarette lighter extension if you have one. It has 3 strong magnets on both handles, so you can flip them up 90 degrees. You can either hook up to a metal frame, to a roof, to a hood. You can hook up vertical to a car body, or again a metal building. Anything that's metal, you can hook up to it. It also has these plastic hooks on the end, which rotate 90 degrees. They're not the strongest looking hooks, but I've never had one break. The other way of mounting it is the main reason why I bought it, is it has this really strong heavy duty cradle. The cradle is spring loaded on both ends, has padded hooks for conveniently grabbing a hood of most sizes. It'll light up the engine area, allow you to work with clear view of everything. Another way that I've used it many times is I'll hook it up to a vehicle's roof, and then I can have a clear view of the dash area, whether I'm removing a dash, working on a dash, or just want a lighted area while I trace wires or do something to that nature. Well, that's pretty much it for now. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe.